I want to ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself before you answer. What are you waiting for? Not a vague answer, but a specific one. What is the thing, right? The condition, the circumstance, the version of yourself that you're waiting for before you give yourself permission to start. Waiting until the kids are launched, waiting until finances are stable, waiting until you feel ready, waiting until you lose the weight, waiting until things calm down, waiting until you figure out what you actually want. I understand because I spent years waiting for permission that was never going to come from the outside. And then I turned 50 and I did some math and everything changed. Here's what I have noticed about women in transition, and I include myself in this completely, 100%. We are very good at knowing what we want. We are not always good at believing we're allowed to get it. So we wait for the right moment, the right circumstances, the right version of ourselves that is somehow more deserving of the life that we want than the version of us that we are right now. And the permission, it never comes because it was never going to come. It's never going to come from the outside. There is no authority figure waiting to sign off on your next chapter. There's no moment where the universe taps you on the shoulder and says, okay, now is your time. Now you're ready. Now you've actually earned it. You can begin. There's only the decision you make or don't make and the time that passes either way. I waited a long time for that tap on the shoulder. I'm here to tell you, it does not come. I checked repeatedly. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell you about the math I did on my 50th birthday that finally broke the waiting for me. And I'm going to give you the one question that I believe is the most important one you can ask yourself in this season, okay? So stay with me. I turned 50 in October of 2023, and something shifted that I had not expected. It wasn't a crisis. There was no dramatic realization. It was more like a quiet settling, like something that had been blurry finally came into focus. I started thinking about time differently. Specifically, I started thinking about how much of it I probably had left or how little of it I had left. Not in a morbid way, in an honest way. The kind of honesty that only comes when you've already lost enough people that you know that your time is not guaranteed and it is not unlimited. My mother died at 67. She was 50. That's the age that I was turning, which means she only had 17 more years. 17 years. I sat with that number for a long time, not because I believed I would die at 67, but because I made something concrete that had always felt abstract. So time is not a concept. It's a number, and that number is finite. And I had been spending a lot of it waiting. I had already started losing weight by the time I turned 50. I had already started proving to myself that I could do hard things. And on that birthday, something locked in for me, a decision that was less like choosing and more like finally stopping the pretense that I had unlimited time to get around to my own life. Here's what I want you to hear. Every year that you spend waiting is a year that belongs to the life you've not started yet. Not a year of rest, not a year of preparation, but a year that is simply gone. And the math does not care whether you're ready or not. But here's the part that took me longer than the math. I had been through a season of loss that I could not fully explain. Parents gone, career ending, years of grief stacked on top of grief and on top of more grief. And for a long time, I was waiting for that to make sense before I moved forward, waiting to understand the reason before I took the next step. The deeper permission was this. I don't have to understand it to accept it. I have come to believe through faith, through experience, through watching what God has done with every broken season of my life, that nothing is ever wasted. That the losses shaped something in me that ease could not have. That the caregiving and the grief and the years of holding everything together for everyone else built a capacity for compassion and resilience that is now the foundation of everything that I do and everything that I am building. I do not fully understand why it happened that way. I never will. But I have stopped requiring the understanding before I let myself move forward. So I want to share a Bible verse with you. Romans 8:28 says that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him. All things, not some things, not the easy things, but all of it. That verse is not a comfort. It's a permission slip. It is God saying, you do not have to see the whole plan. You just have to trust the one who holds it. And then move. So here's the question I want you to sit with this week. Not answer perfectly, just sit with it. Honestly, if you knew you had 17 more years, or 20 or 30, whatever the number is that feels real to you, how would you spend them? How would you spend them differently than the way that you are spending them right now? Not what you should do, not what looks responsible. What would you actually do with the time if you knew it was finite and you were done waiting? I want you to write that down for me. Not a whole plan, just an honest answer. Because the distance between what you wrote and what you're actually doing, that distance is the permission that you've been waiting to give yourself. You do not need to be ready. You do not need to have it figured out. You do not need to understand every hard thing that brought you here before you are allowed to decide what comes next. The permission is not coming from the outside. It never was. It was always yours to give. And every day that you wait for it to come from somewhere else is a day that belongs to someone else's timeline, not yours. You've already waited long enough. The math, it doesn't lie. I turned 50 and I did the math. And I realized that most of the waiting I had been doing was not in preparation. It was fear, dressed up as patience. I didn't need one more sign. I didn't need the grief to be over or the circumstances to be perfect or the path to be clear. I needed to decide that the life in front of me was worth showing up for right now, exactly as things are. That's the permission nobody else can give you. It's the one that you have to give yourself. And it starts with one honest answer to one honest question. How do you want to spend what is left in front of you? So drop a comment and tell me this. What have you been waiting for permission to start? Just name it. One thing. Use a code word if you need to. You know we're okay with that here. But I want you to write it, and then I want you to read it, and then I want you to say it out loud, because saying it out loud is the first step to giving yourself what you've been waiting for someone else to give you. So if this is helpful, I hope that you will subscribe. There's a new video every week. I'm not going anywhere. If you're ready to stop waiting and you want some real support figuring out what comes next, there's a link in the description to book a free discovery call. There's no pressure. It's just there if you need it. So next week, I want to tell you the full story of my father, a man who spent 20 years as a firefighter serving his community, who moved houses just to watch his grandson play basketball, and who taught me everything I know about showing up for the people that I love, even when everything else is falling apart. That one is next week. It's very personal for me, and I hope you will come back. So I want you to remember this. Until then, keep going, because your next chapter is worth it.